What's going on, everyone? So welcome to my latest video. This is obviously my review for the 2012 film Moonrise Kingdom. So Moonrise Kingdom turns 10 this year, so figured it'd give me a pretty darn good excuse to finally sit down and review this film for you guys. This is obviously a film directed by Wes Anderson, the same guy that did Isle of Dogs, Grand Budapest Hotel, Royal Tenenbaums, a slew of other films. I've actually ranked all of his films. You guys can check that out in my director playlist on this channel, but I want to give you guys my relationship with this film, at least a timeline, I should say, because I feel like it's important, so that way you guys understand why I feel the way I do about this film. So I first heard about this film, I think it was very, very beginning of 2012. I think it was like February 2012, actually, because I saw The Artist, I think it was February of 2012, because the Oscars were going to be playing later on that day. So I watched The Artist in preparation, and sure enough, The Artist won Best Picture later on that day. But anyways, when I saw The Artist right before then, they were playing the trailer for Moonrise Kingdom. And I remember seeing the trailer and thinking to myself, that looks way too weird. I'm probably not going to watch it. But lo and behold, next year, around the same time, I saw it got an Oscar nomination for Best Original Screenplay. So I said, you know what, screw it. I'm trying to watch more Oscar, nominations and everything in terms of the movie stuff. Let me check out Moonrise Kingdom. And I saw it in 2013, and I thought it was okay, but I thought it was way too quirky for me personally. I just wasn't a fan of it. I thought it was too weird, especially the romance. I wasn't about it. But at the same time, I just couldn't get the imagery out of my head. And that's usually how it is with me in terms of movies. Like sometimes if I think a movie's okay, but the imagery is something that's engulfed in my head, I usually will probably revisit it. And that's the case with Moonrise Kingdom. I revisited it 2 years later. I think it was 2015, summer 2015. And I ended up really liking it. So much so that I actually bought it on Blu-ray later on that year. This is actually the Blu-ray that I got. And I owned it on physical media, this one in particular, for years. And I actually then decided to upgrade recently on Criterion. It's only truthfully a slight upgrade, but the nice thing is this has better artwork, and it also comes with a lot more bonus features, and also, there's like postcards and everything inside. It's really cool, honestly. So yeah, I own 2 copies of Moonrise Kingdom, so as you can tell at this point in time, I love it. I feel like each time I revisit this film, I seem to gain more and more from it. It's a very, very well-paced movie. The pacing of this movie is incredible. It's like, I think, a 95-minute movie, but it breezes by. It feels like an hour. Alexander Desplat's score is great. I love the instrumental-based tone that this film went for. Alexander Desplat works a lot with Wes Anderson, and they're amazing. They're like the John Williams and Steven Spielberg of the art house genre. I love it. But you guys all know I love instrumental-based music, but the other thing that's nice is that the soundtrack is also really good. The lyrical-based songs that are chosen and everything. I think that Wes Anderson is one of those directors where I personally, as many of you know, I like instrumental-based music more so, especially in films. But Wes Anderson is one of the few directors that I know that if he's playing a lyrical-based song, I know that odds are I'm probably going to really dig it. And there are plenty of cases here in Moonrise Kingdom. I think it's always fitting, and at the same time, I think the sound of this film is just really good. The meshing of nature-based sounds with the score, and then at times also the soundtrack, it's really good stuff, honestly. And it's not even talking about the picture quality. Let's talk about the visual of this film. The visual effects utilize a lot of practical effects, such as miniatures, and I think that they're really well done. At 10 years later, they really have aged well. And again, I love that Wes Anderson uses old school style tactics. It's shot on film as well. And speaking of the cinematography, the composition of this film is just, it's great. It's really great. The use of color, I love the yellow, the blue, the pink, pastel colors, a lot of them. And it's not as oh my goodness, this is amazing, like Grand Budapest Hotel, but it's still really, really well done. And I also like how there's also some handheld camera work that's utilized, and it's a little bit shaky. And I'm normally not the biggest fan of shaky camera work, but it feels purposeful because it really makes you feel like you're inside the character's shoes and everything, about the chaotic nature of what's going on. So really, really well done stylistic choices for sure. Again, it's a visually and audio experience that every Wes Anderson film, you're in for a treat. Story's also pretty good. There are a couple beats here and there in the middle of the movie that I wasn't too engaged by, at least compared to the rest of the film. But for the most part, I think that this film does a really good job of utilizing narration. The exposition here always feels natural. I also like the usage of the characters and how the children feel like adults, but the adults feel like kids. And I like that Wes Anderson does this. I feel like a lot of times, this might not work, but here it works really well. This is a film that definitely won't be for everyone because, again, it's very quirky. But if you are a Wes Anderson fan, I would highly urge you to check out this film. I, again, don't really have any issues other than a couple scenes here and there in the middle. I wasn't as engaged. But overall, Moonrise Kingdom, it's one of my favorite films of the 2010s. One of my favorite comedies and one of my go-to films where, I don't have too much time, but I want to watch a 90-minute movie. Moonrise Kingdom is that movie. And Moonrise Kingdom, I personally will be giving a... So yeah, guys, those are my thoughts on Moonrise Kingdom. What did you think about it if you've seen it? And where does it fall in your ranking of Wes Anderson's films down below? Let me know down below. And as always, guys, thank you very much for watching with subscription, notification bell, follow me on Letterboxd, and I will catch you guys later.